Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40k Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and today we're going to be talking about the Wolfen. Yes, in honor of the badass models that came out for Games Workshop and the Space Wolves, we are going into the facts about the Wolfen. So let's do it. The Wolfen are space marines of the Space Wolves chapter who have succumbed to the curse of the Wolfen and transformed into savage, malformed wolf mutants. Within every Space Wolf gene seed is the specific genetic sequence known as the Canis Helix, which invests the Space Wolves with the acute predatory senses of the Fenrisian wolf, native to their homeworld of Fenris. When the aspirant undergo the beginning of the physical changes that will transform them into superhuman Astartes during the brutal trials known as the Blooding, not every candidate is able to overcome the feral curse that the activation of the Canis Helix unleashes within them, and they suffer the horrific fate of transforming into one of these foul creatures. Once he drinks from the cup of the Wolfen, the warrior must continuously fight against the beast that rages within him for the remainder of his days. But some Space Wolves eventually surrender, unable to contain the ferociousness of the wolf within. During the heat of battle, they transform. When a Space Wolf aspirant is deemed worthy to join the chapter, he partakes in a sacred ceremony where he drinks the Canis Helix, the spirit of the wolf. In actuality, this is a genetic cocktail drawn from the genome of their primarch Leman-Russ and used as a catalyst to activate the genetically engineered viral machinery of the aspirant's gene seed implants. This mixture is drunk from an ancient relic of the Space Wolves known as the Cup of Wolfen. Ancient legends speak of the coming of the Emperor of Mankind to the world of Fenris during the Great Crusade, seeking his long-lost progeny. Many of those that were to become the first Space Wolves were all old men by the standards of the Astartes, having been sworn brothers to Leman, king of the Russ, for many years before the Allfather had come to Fenris. When the truth of Leman's heritage was finally revealed, every warrior in the king's med hall had drawn their iron blades and clamored to fight at the side of Leman-Russ, as sword brothers ought to, but they were all too old. The Allfather told them not a man among them was younger than 20 years old. The trials that they would have to endure would very likely kill them, no matter how courageous and strong-willed they were. Yet the men of Leman's med hall were mighty warriors, each man a hero in his own right, and for they would not be disobeyed by the thought of suffering or death. Leman, the king, was moved by this devotion and could not find it in his heart to refuse them. It is said that Leman-Russ possessed the Cup of the Wolfen, giving this vessel to his original followers, the first men from Fenris, to join the ranks of the Space Wolves, and told them to drink from the cup. Russ spoke to the assembled men of Fenris and told them of his plan. He offered them power and a vast span of years if they followed him to make war among the stars. They roared their acceptance and hailed Russ as their chief. He told them that they must drink a potent brew from the great cup and thus would bring the transformation. Among the chosen was a chief named Wolfen. He was a mighty man, fell and strong, proud in his power. He was a man gifted beyond all others in the art of war, and he was bested only once in his life, and that was by Russ, who humbled him before all his people, but seeing a worthy warrior had spared him and offered him a place amongst his warriors. Wolfen was the first to step forward, and he swigged the glorious mead of Russ from the chalice, but evil lurked still in Wolfen. He was consumed by a secret gnawing hatred of Russ, and he planned to take treacherous revenge upon the man-god. The guardian spirit within the cup saw this the moment Wulfen put his lips on the cup, and it worked a spell on him, making his outer self match his inner evil. To the horror of those who looked on, the great chieftain changed. He turned into a dreadful thing, half man, half wolf, and he sprang on Russ with a howl of hatred. But Russ was not dismayed. With one blow he crushed Wulfen's skull and slew the beast that had been revealed. He looked upon his followers and told them that Wulfen was unworthy, and that this would be the fate of all those who drank from the chalice with evil in their hearts. He told them that those who wished could now depart without drinking. To the Space Wolves' ancestors' credit, no man departed, and all drank, and all gained the power that Russ had promised, and thus began the true founding of the Space Wolves. Those men strode forth to write their names in the history of all the worlds of man, becoming the first Space Wolves to be recruited from Fenris. Out of the hundreds that drank from the cup of Wulfen, almost 40 survived, a number that amazed even the All-Father himself. In honor of their courage, Lehman, no longer king, but Primarch of the Space Wolves, formed a new company around the survivors. Ever since, the other warriors of the Legion refer to the 13th Company as the Greybeards. The members of the company, however, call themselves Wolf Brothers. In reality, those aspirants who are likely to fall prey to the Wulfen mutation do not do so after immediate consumption of the Canis Helix mixture, but usually over the weeks and months of training that follow afterwards. After drinking from the cup of Wulfen, the aspirants are taken through the gates of Morkai, a mystical portal deep within the Fang, the Space Wolves' massive fortress monastery, where every aspirant's mind is picked and prodded by the chapter's rune priest for signs of corruption or mental weakness. One of the most important aspects of this test is that the aspirant show himself able to keep the bestial side under control, even while making his way through the Fenrisian wilderness in harsh conditions. Those that fail do so will transformed into Wolfen and remain in the wild. If the aspirant returns to the Fang from the test of Morkai, he is implanted with the remaining components of the Space Wolf's gene seed, which stabilizes the mutational effects of the Helix.
What's up, guys? We are back at it again. I am the Sound Alchemist with
Gersh1!
and we have gotten a great accomplishment.
Oh yeah, we have just hit 10,000 subscribers, something we couldn't do. We basically did this in a matter of 3 to 4 months, and we've been on this video or on this channel for at least 2 years. So the Warhammer 40k fandom is so awesome.
It is.
And to say thank you to you guys, we got an extra special gift.
We will be giving away this Land Raider.
Land Raider Crusader.
Or Redeemer, depending on how you build it.
Yeah, that's what I figured, yeah. How can they win this? Oh, okay, so it's going to be simple. You have to be a subscriber, number one. You have to like this channel, or like this specific video, share it on any social media, and then of course comment down below. The winner is going to be chosen from the people who comment down below, and you can comment whatever you want. Yeah, right? Alright, and that is it. More details in the description below. Again, thank you guys so much for helping us reach 10,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome, and that's why we're doing this special extra bonus giveaway for you guys. And yeah, that's it. Let's go back to the facts. Although this procedure is extremely hazardous, the remaining components of the Space Wolf's gene seed will prove ineffective at initiating the metamorphosis into an Astarte, unless the Canis Helix is implanted first to serve as a catalyst for the transformation. The next phase of the neophyte's transformation into a full-fledged space wolf is a trial period of training in which the physical transformation initiated by the genetic catalyst within the Canis Helix begins to manifest. Amongst the most common changes are that the neophyte's senses will become vastly superior to that of other space marines. His teeth will lengthen into fangs capable of tearing through steel, and his skin will toughen to the texture of leather. His body mass grows by up to 80%, and many of his bones fuse. Many of the aspirants will continue to grow into their newly received genetic implants, whilst others succumb completely to the curse of the wolf at this time and develop into one of the giant, feral, bloodthirsty mutants known as the Wolfen. To become one of those fell creatures is to fall from grace, and to roam the wilderness forevermore as a creature of darkened night. The Space Wolves' harsh induction regime generally ensures that these individuals perish at an early stage in the process. However, at the time of the Great Crusade, when the Emperor and his Astartes legions were conquering vast swaths of the galaxy in the name of mankind, those brothers touched by the curse were banded together into the 13th Great Company, where their feral ferociousness could be brought to bear on the masses as well as contain for the safety of those of the entire legion. Eventually, the 13th Company disappeared, their loss the subject of numerous myths. It falls to the wolf priests, the cult leaders and spiritual guides of the chapter, to keep the curse of the Wolfen from overtaking the space wolves, and they take full responsibilities for the development of their charges, be it spiritually or mentally. Those that are wolf-bitten, suffering from the curse of the Wolfen, are given over to the care of the wolf priest. Currently, there is one group of warriors under the shadow of this curse more than any other. These are the Astartes of the Wolf Lord Bran Redmaul's Great Company. It is renowned for its savagery in battle, and the Inquisition has accounted for terrifying feral creatures shadowing the deployment of the Great Company. These reports have yet to be proven true, and the Space Wolves themselves ignore all demands to the account for their allegations. The Wolf Lord Bran Redmaul also does little to dispel these rumors, and the fact that he has recently begun to take to the battlefield alone rather than lead his battle brothers only serves the court the growing attention of the Inquisition. None have yet dared to question their loyalty to the Imperium, and its proven record combating mankind's enemy has forced the Inquisition to so far stay silent. Known as the Cursed Lord, Wolfenkin, the Bloodied Hunter, Bran Redmaul serves as the current Wolf Lord of one of the chapter's great companies. He and his great company are looked upon with suspicion by the other 11 Wolf Lords, for they are regarded as tainted. More space wolves bearing the curse of the Wolfen serve in Redmaul's company than in any other. The unspoken truth is that Redmaul has risen to become a Wolf Lord despite himself being afflicted with the curse. During the second founding in the late 31st millennium, the Wolf Brothers chapter was founded from the gene seed of the Space Wolf Legion, led by its first chapter master, Bjor Arjak Grimison. The Wolf Brothers were intended to be as numerous as their genetic forebearers and as powerful. They were gifted a homeworld, Coriol, a planet of ice and fire, just as Fenris is. They were given half of the Legion's fleet, half their armories, and half their wolf priests. They were to have been the first of many successor chapters, a whole line of descendant Fenrisian chapters, the Sons of Russ. capable of carving out a star empire the size of Ultramar. That was the vision, to be powerful enough to encircle the Eye of Terror completely, to prevent the traitor legions from daring to ever leave it again. But something went terribly wrong. The Wolf brothers were disbanded, scattered to the 6 points of the compass. They were disbanded for the same reason there could be no further successors to the Space Marines chapter: the existence of the wolf within. The genetic code of the Space Wolves Astartes, known as the Canis Helix, was far too dangerous to be copied. The heritage that made the Space Wolves powerful also made their genomes unstable and prone to rapid mutation. The Wulfen brothers, located far from Fenris, fell quickly into the state of beasts. The instability may have been the result of the curse of the Wolfen that manifested itself at times in the Space Wolves themselves. Some Wolf brothers chose to go renegade rather than be killed off, and eventually became Chaos Space Marines in service to the Space Wolves' greatest enemies, the Thousand Sons Traitor Legion, and later to other Chaos Space Marine warbands such as the Red Corsairs. Some of these renegades remain at large in the late 41st millennium, though the vast majority of the chapter was completely wiped out millennium ago. And those were 40 facts about the Wolfen. Now go out there, if you haven't already done so, purchase the Wolfen model and paint it while you're listening to this. Or you can paint whatever else. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and commenting down below, because I know you will. Now if you're new to this, please check out our Space Marine Aspirant Trials video. It kind of goes over what a Space Marine has to go through in order to become a Space Marine. You find out some really interesting facts, so please check that out on the YouTube channel. Thank you again for watching. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.